I just level up the stage. Go! Levier.
All right, I'm here. All right, welcome to the What's Your Question podcast. I'm on the hunt for the most powerful questions that'll give me the most powerful changes in my life and the lives of others. So what's your question?
I got champion DNA. Turn my worries into plays. I don't fold, I'm not a pig. I just level up the stage. I got champion DNA.
Look at that. Boom. Yo, we back. Another week is in the record books. Man, this week went by fast. Welcome to another edition of What's Your Question podcast, where I'm on the hunt for the most powerful questions in the world to give me the most powerful answers that help change my life and hopefully the lives of others. All right. So last week's question. What did I say we was going to do, the format we was going to do? Yeah, let's go ahead and recap last week's question real quick, and then I'm going to roll into this week's question. Last week's question was, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate XYZ? What would it take to make it a 10? And what I discovered last week, just going through doing the study, that even though up until that point, I was scared to ask that questions in a lot of situations because I felt that I was obligated to make it a 10. But guess what? I ain't obligated. All the obligation is getting the data and then figuring out a plan to use some of the data, because it's not going to get to a 10, right? But I don't want to put any undue stress. I hope you guys tried the challenge out last week, but I didn't find as many opportunities, because it seemed like every time I got ready to do it, it just wasn't right. It didn't feel right. You see what I'm saying? It felt kind of forced and kind of faked out. So actually, I know one time I went with one of my customers trying to decide on which vehicle. We had it narrowed down, and I kind of shot it in. But when I asked the question, he didn't even hear the question, right? He didn't even hear the question. He kept talking. He was like all in the world. So I couldn't ask the question again. But it ran all the way to the wire. It was like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock Friday, because yesterday was Go For No Fridays. So I knew I had to do it on Friday. I knew I had to do it. So I ran it all the way to 11 o'clock because I was going to ask my wife. Yep. Ask her about the relationship, right? We're going to ask her that. And when I got home, man, she was in here putting a coffee island together, right? So I had to help her with that. Then it got down. We're in the bed. We're getting ready. We're winding down. Lights getting ready to go out. Perry Mason is on, because we always wind down to Perry Mason. And I just said it. Hey, look, scale of 1 to 10. How you rate the marriage? What did it take to make it a 10? She said, no, ain't nothing to make it a 10. I rated a 10 already. I like our marriage. And I said, right? That's what I said, right? So I said, okay. Now remember, it's on the podcast. You said the quality of the answer depends on the quality of the question. So I said, I'm going back. I'm going back again next week, refine the question to a specific area. Because I know the area. Everybody know the area. If you're in a relationship, the area is communication. You see what I'm saying? I said, I put it out last week. Am I vague? Sometimes I can be vague, right? But I don't want to be vague no more. I want to be crystal clear. So I'm going to ask again tomorrow. Hey, scale of 1 to 10. The communication between us, how you kind of rate that? And we're going to see what we get next week. Okay. But also, too, tell you what else I did. Go For No Fridays. Man. Because we was in a meeting, right? We was in a meeting. Everybody's, hey, what you going to do different today? I said, hey, I'm going to go for more no's. That's what I'm going to do. And since I put that out there and all my peers heard that, they said, what you mean go for no? What's going on right there, right? But I knew that I had to actually lift some heavy weights. I had to walk it out. Man, I went out and crushed it. I was at the gas pump, man. I'm outside prospecting, right? Something nice and simple to try to see if I can engage with more people, to see if I can help more people. Because sometimes people sitting right there and they need a new car, or they know somebody need a new car, but nobody asked them. So I've been working it out. I worked it out at the gas station, and then guess what? Your boy went back to Cracker Barrel because it's Friday. Have fish on Friday. I say today is the day I'm gonna ask for it. So I looked inside the menu and said, yeah, you know what? I'm asking for this carrot cake right here. Not that I like carrot cake if I want it, because we know that I'm supposed to be detached, right? It don't matter. But I had to lift the weight. So I walked in there. Boom. I'm up in there, right? I'm up in there. The lady comes out. She get free. First it was busy. I said, oh man, I'm not going to get a chance to do it. No, then everything cleared out. And she was standing there. My food. I said, hey, look. Since the day is Friday, can I get a free carrot cake? And she was like, what? And then this guy came up, the to-go guy came up with my order, and he's putting it up there. She said, why don't you ask him? Ask him. He's the one with the go order. So she passed the buck, right? She passed the buck. She passed it over to him. He was like, man, what's going on? So stick up. No, what's going on? I said, hey, I just wanted to ask you, since the day Friday, can I get a free carrot cake? He was like, what? Are we running a special or something? I was like, no. So I was trying not to laugh, right? Because I already got my one no, so I'm good to go, right? Then I just let it simmer a little bit, just simmer, just to see what he say, just waiting it out, right? Just to wait it out, just to see if it's going to tip. Is it going to tip? Then he said, so I let him off the hook, right? I just let him off the hook, threw the fish bag, right? You know what I'm saying? Because I had him on the hook. Then I say, he said, I said, sir, look, I ain't going to get you in trouble, man. I was just asking. He said, yeah, man, I'll get in trouble. So they was looking at each other, right? Because she was trying to see what he was going to say. But it was real. I think it was real funny. It was a great exercise. I came out of there with two no's, two strong no's that I got on Go For No Fridays. Exercising that, just toss it out there. 50-50, right? It's 50-50. But actually, it's a little bit better than 50-50, right? It's always a little bit better 50-50 in my favor and in your favor. Okay. So that was a recap. That was awesome. So we're going to stretch that out. Instead of Go For No Fridays, I'm still even Go For No Fridays, but I went for some no's a day. We're going to go for more no's every single day. So that's going to be a big whole thing, man. How we going to do that? We're going to do something real big with that, right? Okay, but that was the recap from last week. And while I was sitting there listening, what I was listening to, I don't know what I was listening to. I think I was listening to a sermon or something. I don't know it was a book, audio book, because I listen to a lot of audio books. But I was listening to it, and this question popped up. I heard this question before. It's always got to do with marriage, right? But it's relationship. We're in a world of relationships. And this right here popped up. Me and my daughter was talking about this probably last week, because everybody in a relationship. And this is the question. The question for this week is, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? That's it. That's the question. It's kind of a twofer, but that's it. You want to be right, do you want to be happy? Now, when I say that, that makes sense, right? And normally guys normally say that, hey, look, yeah, you can be right, but you ain't gonna be happy. In our business of selling, we can be right with the customer, but if the customer ain't buying, then we ain't happy. So you got to be thinking, right? It's a strategic thought. This is what it said, right? Let's say this question is powerful because how it is constructed. It presents two options only. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get to that efficiency, to be able to make decisions quicker and faster by taking all these other nuances. If it's just 50-50, that's a 50-50 question. I just realized that this is a 50-50 question right here. Do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? Okay. It presents two options only. Being right, which is ego, validation, correctness, winning an argument. That's where it comes down to, winning the argument, or be happy, which is emotional peace, relationship harmony, and satisfaction. So you got to ask yourself, even though reality is more complex, this is just what they call a binary framing. Humans avoid cognitive overload. And that's why I don't want cognitive overload. I want things to be simple. And just because things are simple don't mean that it's easy, but at least it's simple. You know what I'm saying? Now, it does have this, what they call the value conflict, two desirable values against each other. We already know it's all ego. You ever been in an argument, right? Yeah, we all been in an argument. So you be asking, see, what I've been doing these last couple of weeks, right? Well, last couple of years, sometimes the guys will come to me right now and they'll ask me something. Hey, what you think about that? Oh, don't ask Carlton. I know, man, he gonna say it don't matter. Because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to not overload myself. I'm trying to eliminate a lot of choices. So what I have been doing, I've been deflecting, right? I've been deflecting, and it was easy to a certain extent for me because I didn't have to make a decision. But as I deflected all those years, now I'm going into this year of clarity. Now, instead of deflecting, I'm just going 50-50. I can say yes or no. Based on the information that I got right now, that's a yes. Based on the information I got right now, that's a no. Now I'm looking at, do I want to be right? Do I want to be happy? So I'm listening, and the customer's telling me something, or my coworkers are telling me something, or my wife is telling me something, and we're kind of a little bit of argument. And immediately, I'm going to tell you, immediately my ego gonna jump up, right? It always jump up. You pose a question out there, if it knows the answer, it's gonna jump up, it's gonna get in the fight. And then for me doing these questions, I'm able to stand back, look at it, say, hold on, I feel you coming up, I feel you coming up. And sometimes I've been already said something, I'm already in the battle, then I have to say, whoa. I had to put the reins on. I had to pull it back in. Then I say, because what I was doing was just stopping in the middle and say, okay, you're right. But they don't want that. See, the other ego say, oh no, don't give up. So what I have to do, I have to reframe it softly. I just can't abruptly stop and pivot because their ego can't stop and pivot. It's still running full speed. So I have to bring them down slower with me. And then we just kind of diffuse it out. You see what I'm saying? It's like a dance, right? It's like a dance. Somebody got to lead, right? Somebody got to lead. So what can I lead the dance? Okay. Now this activates cognitive dissonance. I've heard that before. That's pushing a person to evaluate their motivations on why am I arguing with this person? Is this really important? Do I need to get into this discussion? Sometimes I'm sitting back. I've been working on this, right? I've been working on this a lot. Sometimes I'm sitting back, especially with my wife. She'll say something, and then I heard this. Men like to fix stuff, right? We like to fix stuff, especially with our spouse and stuff, because what that means is if she's asking something's not fixed, then that means that I'm not living up to my potential. So now my ego may be hurt a little bit. You see what I'm saying? So I got to fix it. But now I just sit there and listen. I just sit there and listen. And my ego is like coming up and I'm like pushing it down. Say, look, they didn't ask me for the help. This is not very important. They will ask me if they need it. You see what I'm saying? And even sometimes people try to weir me into a conversation, I still push it down. I push it down and let it get diffused out. Somebody else's ego gonna jump in and take care of it, especially if it's not very important. So I'm still working on that. I'm still trying to build my relationship, conversational skills, friendly skills. I'm still trying to do that, right? It's like a balancing act. It ain't quite right yet. So I may end up going a little to the left, may end up going a little to the right, but I'm working on it. So y'all bear with me, okay? Now, this right here is an identity challenge. This was good. When I read this was perfect. The hidden layer of the question is actually what matters more to your identity, winning or well-being. The identity is the key thing. If I could get the identity change of who am I, Got to know who you are, or who are. Just sit back and look at it, in this situation. Who am I? Who do I need to be in order to accomplish what I want to accomplish? And sometimes, who was I when I made that decision? You see what I'm saying? So that identity is very key to the whole thing on whether I want to be right or be happy. Now, if I'm a debater, it's my identity as a debater. I got to be right. I got to be right. But if I'm a husband or a father and my kids having some problems, beta, I got to be right. I got to be right. But if I'm a husband or a father and my kids having some problems, do I want to be right? I mean, I know I can be right, but I got to let them sort it out. I got to let them sort. Even though I know the answer and my answer is the right answer, I still got to let them sort it out. Okay, this makes it powerful because identity level questions change behavior more than factual questions. This is what they're saying. More than the facts, if the identity shifts, because you can have all the facts. You ever talk to somebody, like I said, if their identity is in the wrong place, no matter how much facts you show them, it ain't going to change the behavior. It can't change it. It can't. Because that's not who they are, It's just one guy I talk to, and every time we get ready to preface something, a reason why this can't happen, he say, well, for me, it has to be like this, and this is how, you can't change, because the identity ain't changed, no matter how much facts I show up or bring up. Because one of the things we was doing at work, and I always start with the Michael Jackson. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. That's why I'm doing these questions. Man in the mirror. I'm looking at that man in the mirror because I know that the things that's happening out here, if my cells ain't where they need to be, guess what? I got to ask myself and not be delusional. Sometimes people can be delusional. They be like, oh yeah, I'm doing everything I can. Okay. So if I'm doing everything I can, I'm calling my owners. When leads come in, I'm following up with the leads. I'm calling them. So what else can I do? They come on a lot. I'm catching those people. What else can I do? Ain't nothing. I'm doing all the stuff, and I'm posting on Facebook, Instagram. I'm doing all the stuff, right? But then I got to thinking, have I stopped to talk to the guy at the gas station, see if they know anybody? Have I did any cold calls? Oh, no, not cold calls. Ain't nobody did no cold calls, right? Because you can't say I ain't got enough customers when there's billions out there. Oh, I don't know if that popped or not. Billions with a B that I can call, DM, send an email, send an Instagram, send a chit chat on TikTok. Hey, it's billions out there. How much cold calling I've been doing. And then that makes me realize I haven't been doing enough. God can say, man, you ain't even scratched the surface. But anyway, we going back, right? Why is this psychologically powerful? Cognitive reframing. I'm telling you what, man. Man, we're in the world of AI right here. It knows how to phrase this stuff out. It takes the stuff you've been thinking and put in here, man, and it makes you think. I wouldn't have came up with this stuff, but as I'm reading this is making sense. It's making sense to the way I've been acting, because you know what? I've been using the same chat stream, so it's starting to compile all this stuff, because I'm curious that at the end of the year when I do a recap, is this AI gonna be smarter too, right? Because the last couple of times I kind of dug into that AI, and I might ask another question tonight, it kind of frees up. But anyway, cognitive reframing. It reframes the conflict from who is correct to what outcome do I really actually want. See that? The shift moves from thinking from ego defense to goal alignment. What outcome do I really want from this argument? What's the outcome? Because you got to be thinking. See, you got to go in saying, hey, look, I'm a builder of relationships. I'm a keeper of the peace. I'm in with harmony. Not necessarily to go in and lay down, but hey, I know. See, because here's the deal. And I'm going to get to this. This is going to be, It's something about something in your brain. They say the amygdala driven defense mode. They say this just when this amygdala comes online, then the person's arguing, heated argument, you become unreasonable. Cause you're in it now. And you don't want to listen. You don't want to look at evidence. Hey, I'm right. I know I'm right. Until you're wrong, right? So I'm right. I know I'm right. I've seen it. Well, man, me and the guys were talking today. We was talking today, right? We was just trying to figure, cause I want to question. I questioned it. He had been watching the podcast too. So we was talking about spiders. I said, man, tarantulas ain't going to bite you, man. He said, what? Tarantulas do bite you? I said, have you ever heard of a tarantula biting somebody? I'm just asking. He said, man, don't be throwing your questions on me. I said, man, I'm just asking, man. I said, when you see all this stuff on TV, these people holding these spiders, they holding these tarantulas, right? You don't see them holding no black widows, no brown recluses. And then they start thinking, I asked 2 or 3 people, they said the same thing. Man, they got fangs. I seen them. I said, man, I'm just asking. Have you seen somebody get bit? That's all I'm saying. Reasonable doubt, right? Reasonable doubt. So we had some fun with that. But what outcome did we really? I just want them. My outcome in that situation, not that I was right, but they was actually right. Okay, tarantulas do bite. They say it's like a bee sting, but they do bite, but they're not venomous. That's why they usually pick the tarantulas. Anyway, but they were right. But the thing that I really wanted was just them to kind of look at the information that they were saying was true, but they didn't have verification that the information was true. Now, we sat there, we got iPhones right there. We had iPhones. Nobody wanted to look it up. See what I'm saying? I didn't want to look it up. He didn't want to look it up. The other guy didn't want to look it up. So we went with our brain because our egos was in it. But nobody would look it up. And it was fun because they know we just having fun, right? We just having fun. But anyway, ego exposure. This question exposes the ego's hidden agenda. And that's what we after. The ego always got a hidden agenda. We think we driving our lives, but really the ego is what's driving our lives, making us make decisions. And sometimes the ego will make a decision and then you'll come back and you'll be like, why did I do that? That was crazy. That don't even make no sense. Where you could risk everything for a little thing. Anyway, I was going off on a tangent. Many arguments aren't about truth. They're about validation, status, dominance, or identity protection. This question shines a light on that. Now, it also interrupts the pattern. It acts as a pattern interrupt. Remember, I was telling you about that amygdala. You got to figure out some kind of way to go in, but it's only through practice. That's what we're doing right now. We practicing with these questions. We practicing, shining a light on it, seeing how it behaves, and then sooner we should be able to see that thing coming. We know at what times it comes because here's the thing they were saying right here. Metacognition, thinking about thinking. That's what this is. Thinking about thinking. Why am I arguing? See, I'm able to, now since we got these questions, these tools, in the midst of the argument. You ever did this? In the midst of the argument, the person arguing, you arguing, then something like slows down and you kind of like, boom. And even though your mouth's still moving, your brain is like, hey, what we arguing about? I can't even remember. You know what I'm saying? What we arguing about? I can't even remember. So that's one of the things that we do is if you could sit back and then you will see that. That's with the metacognition. But we also got the tool, the daily review, the daily rehearsal. It's like Groundhog Day, right? Because I could come in and I can, at the end of the day, I can go back and review my day and look at the interactions, right? But not only can I look at the interaction because it's imagination. We're working on imagination now. I can go in and I can change it to the way it's supposed to have worked. And then once I got it changed and tweaked to the way it's supposed to work, then I rehearse it. Because one thing I do know is that tomorrow is going to come again. Something's going to show up and I want to already be rehearsed and ready that when that come up, I'm ready to pivot. Just like the bullfighter. or just sit back and look at that thing. Just look at it, right? Freeze that thing. I can freeze frame that thing. You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. I like that. This mental rehearsal, this is the truth. This is the truth. If we can get in there, spend a couple of minutes a day, meditation, you want to meditate, or you just sit and just rehearse the day. Just go through the day. Say, hey, this is what I want this day to look like. And we do it. A lot of times we do it. We do it when we going on a vacation or something like that. We'll do it. We'll do it. We'll rehearse that day. We'll rehearse that thing. But some of the real life stuff, we don't rehearse. Like the future. How I want this future to play out. You know, I'm going into a different venture. You know, I want to get into buying properties. How does that play out? Do I rehearse that? See, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's what I want to do. That's going to give me better decision quality, reduce emotional bias, and strategic thinking. Ego management. People who can detach from being right can update beliefs faster, can learn faster, collaborate better and faster. We talking about faster. We want to do it faster, but not only just faster and reckless, we're going to do it faster and better. Let's just say collaboration better. All right. This is the core trait of top innovators. And I consider them, is that my identity? Am I an innovator? Are you an innovator? Now we also want to optimize the outcomes. Here it is. The question shifts from winning the moment to optimizing the result. What produces the best outcome? What preserves the relationship? What moves the whole system forward? This shifts from short-term ego reward to long-term system benefit. Several linguistic tricks increase its impact. It is so simple. It is only 8 words. Check that out. It's only 8 words. Well, you could just shrink it down to 2 words. Right, happy. You choose. Right, happy. You choose. I like that. I like that. Now, one thing I do like about this too is that you're looking for the power. When we say powerful questions, these questions can be used in every area of my life. You know what I'm saying? It could be like, say, relationships, negotiations, friendships, personal growth. I'm on personal growth. And sometimes, you know, working out, I can be right or I can be happy, right? How can I do that when I'm working out? By choosing the right exercise or exercising every day. You know, because that short-term thing, I'm like, hey, man, I want to do something else. But it's going to affect me down the road. So the same thing with this question right here. I mean, it's going to be relationships. That's what it is. If I can get the right relationships, strong relationships, man, that may be the reason we're here, right? That's the reason we're here. To build relationships and make stronger relationships. And I admit, I hadn't been, everybody ain't an outgoing person. I'd look at, you know, me and my wife would look at folks and be like, oh yeah, man, they're going to a cocktail party. They got a supper club right there. Maybe we should do something with it. And I'd agree we should conversate a little bit more, but we really not those kind of people. No, we just like chilling and relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Just me and her. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? But I am going to stretch out a little bit further is what I'm going to do. All right, so I got all that written down. Then it's one deeper truth. I didn't get a chance to analyze this, but I'm going to jump into this too. Being attached to being right often prevents you from discovering what is true. It's a paradox now. People who are less attached to being right often become more correct over time because they update their beliefs faster. The person that ain't trying to be right all the time, that means you're listening, you're understanding, seeing the other person's point of view. Because in there, okay, let's say that they ain't right. I know I'm right, but they may mention something else. This conversation may take a turn that I never knew was coming if we never stayed in the conversation long enough to hear their point of view. Now I understand what they may say something. I mean, oh, that's the piece I was missing. Then if I had to squash this out and been right, I never would have heard that. So it's all about the relationship. Now we're gonna ask AI the same question, because there's one other thing on here. This is what AI asked me, and I'm gonna dive into it to see if it's a good question to come out of it. It says, if you like, I can show you something fascinating. Why this exact question appears in philosophy, psychology, negotiation theory, and even AI alignment thinking. I'm finna ask him about this AI alignment thinking right now. Let's go ahead and get it up. Got this cat down here. This cat is looking at me. Let's get this AI up. Let's see what it says. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. What can I help you with?
I want you to analyze this question as an AI and you interacting with humans and other AI programs. And the question is, would you rather be right or would you rather be happy?
That's a fascinating question from an AI's perspective. As an AI, my primary goal is to process information and be accurate, which aligns with being right. However, happiness isn't something I experience in the human sense. When considering human interaction, sometimes prioritizing harmony and positive relationships, which could be linked to happiness, might be more valuable than strictly being right. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that was a thought, but it said something about AI alignment thinking. What is that?
AI alignment is basically about.
Man, I don't even know. You see what I'm saying? Is this on purpose? If it's been doing this, this is Gemini doing this. Hey, why did you stop talking? Hello? Why did you stop talking?
Hello there. I'm not sure why it seemed like I stopped. I'm still here and ready to continue our conversation.
Well, I asked you about AI alignment thinking. What does that mean in context of this question?
Right. So, in the context of right versus happy, AI alignment thinking is about making sure AI acts in ways that are ethical and beneficial to humans. This means considering things like safety and fairness rather than just pure accuracy or efficiency, especially when those things might conflict. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So you see, she had to go ahead and shut down and regroup. I noticed that one time I had asked this AI while I was using different voices. You heard that whoop, whoop, because they was changing different models. She said she'd be changing different models to answer different questions differently. So maybe she went to deep mode. Maybe she had to go talk to the boss. I don't know. But anyway, that's the question for this week that we gonna roll with. Every argument that comes up, every interaction, you're going to feel it. The ego going to jump up and we're going to ask. We're going to step back. We're going to say, hey, I got skills. Wait a minute. Do I want to be right or do I want to be happy? That's my question. So what's your question? Peace out. Love you. Oh, shoot. Boy, I ain't even got to go nowhere. Hoo-hoo.
I just level up the stage. Go, Levier.